Welcome everyone to the Saturday night edition of Rainy Nights with Friends. Here with me tonight, I have Bleak Rides, a fellow bald buddy. By the way, that song was Madman Possessed. That was Nathan Ritchie on vocals and lead guitar. And he's also of the band Pain Machine and Hazardous Noise. If you want to reach out to him on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, the channel is Madman Possessed. All right, tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about going on trips and what do I need to pack on this trip. We've kind of covered this before, but we've kind of covered necessity things you just won't live without, one or two things, and like camping trips. So tonight we're going to talk about the things that you would take any trip on or take with you on any trip. So tonight, it's a little different. We're waiting for some people to jump in, but it's things like kickstand plates, tire repair kits, rain jackets, things like that. So things that you just normally wouldn't. We're not talking about going camping. We're not going about talking 1,000-mile road trips. We're talking you just never leave the house without this stuff because you don't know what's going to happen. So Bleak, living up in the north there, I'm sure your weather is about as indecisive as mine, but all in all, what will you never leave without? What do you always pack with you when you go on a trip?
Well, a couple key items. Most of it's gear. Good pair of rainproof boots. Usually some rain gear. But as far as just leaving the house, never leave the house without rock straps. Because often I go to work in the morning and it's cold. I wear a jacket. And then on the way home, I just strap the jacket to the bike. It's hot out. I don't want to be sweating to death, so I never leave home without them.
That's another good one. I have a net on the back of the BMW, and of course I've got trunks and stuff. But that net is just for that crazy stuff that you might just need to drag with you when you on the way home find something, or you need to stop at the store, or on the way to work you got to stop and get a box of donuts. That stuff's not going to go in the saddlebag very well.
No, I should have added that because I usually have that net with me as well. What I'll do is sometimes I'll take the bike to the store, buy some groceries, and I can only fit so much in the top box. Although I do get very Tetris about it. I'm not opposed to strapping stuff to my seat. Hopefully nothing goes flying out as I'm flying down the road.
Yeah, I know it probably looks weird because on the Harley all I have is the sissy bar bag, and it's a big bloated bag. I can get a lot of stuff in it, but it's nice to have that extra little that net just in case you got to strap something else down. And BMW's the same way. Kawasaki, I guess we're going to find out because that thing is very limited on space. Although I've thought about getting some soft bags from Nelson Rig, but that's a future project, future planning. Man, I got to get this. I got to get this Kawasaki totally roadworthy. I'm very happy
Actually,
by it. So
I might have you covered. Um, I don't have any use for them. I haven't for a while. I'd love to see them get used. I got the full set, where they call it match luggage, of the Cortec sport bike luggage,
Cortec,
tank
yep,
bag, tail bag, and saddle bags.
yep, those are cool. Yeah, sell me those though. Don't you've given me enough stuff. Sell me something.
I'm terrible at selling stuff, man. I just prefer stuff gets used because if something happens to me, it's not like I get to take it with me.
Yeah. Oh, I know the feeling. I've got a shelf full of stuff now for the Harley, and I've got a shelf full of stuff I pulled off of the just like simple stuff. You know, I've had to replace like the passenger pegs and put floorboards in for Diana for longer trips. I've got a couple of different seat pads that I bought to see which ones would fit best for the Harley. I think I'm on the fourth set of handlebars now for the Harley, and I just gave a set away a pair of MX bars because I had a buddy that has Sportsman that's 2 years younger than mine, and he wanted to go from that broom handle to something he could lean back a little bit on because he's in his late 40s now. So welcome, Journey of Jerry. Welcome in. Yeah,
Everybody's saying they can't hear me, so I got to do the mic in hand.
you got to be the air traffic controller. I think we can hear him a little better now. All right, where were we? Oh yeah, so I have recently found out. Of course, the Kawasaki is running now, but I have to
Nice.
get Yeah. Oh, it sounds so good now. On the video the other day, it sounds still a little rough. Went and got 3 more gallons put in it, put some injection cleaner in it, and that thing roars like a monster now. On top of that, it has a racing exhaust on it. I want to find the original exhaust that has the belly pan and the diverter and the sound box or the silencer box. But I might run it for a few weeks without it on there because that racing exhaust just sounds like a absolute freaking Tyrannosaurus.
They're fun for a time.
Yeah.
Uh, use use sign language. Jerry says they're fun for a time. I had that Ducati, and it had an Acura exhaust on it, and I tell you what, it became ear piercing.
Yeah.
I would think unless I was going to start doing track days every day, there was no point in having that exhaust and living in a city. It was obnoxiously, ear piercingly loud.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. If I could stay on the highway and run away from it all the time, it wouldn't be so bad. But like in the garage, just having the garage door closed and starting it up is like you start hearing this ting 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 ting. It almost sounds like are my rockers rattling? No, that's my ears. I'm just giving myself instant tendinitis. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun for a while. Blink if you're safe. Yeah, it's fun for a while, but then it gets to like, okay, this is too loud. Which I don't. I like a full bellied exhaust, even like on the Harley, and I've just found a good 2-in-1 to put on it. But I don't want something that's so loud that's gonna make my eyes hurt or make me go deaf before I get to where I'm going. So I know some people love them loud exhausts, but I'm just not a fan.
I sold a guy some today. He specifically he wanted something that was loud but sounded nice. I think he was on a tri glide, uh, and I said, my buddy Tori had some zombies on his bike. One time he cracked that throttle, and I thought lightning and thunder was happening around me. It like shook me. I said, "Whoa, what the hell is that?" You know, and I told that guy that story, and he goes, "That's the pipes I want." I said, "Very good. You want them slash cut? You want them chrome black?" He said, "I'll take them in chrome." Out the door he went.
Yeah, I just found some nice ones that I like. And they're not expensive either. Of course, I wanted the Meteor before from, and I can't remember, it was the Gallop. And because Gallop, the Meteors used to be like $300. And overnight, all of a sudden, they were $800. Because as soon as people started putting them on their channels, it was like, these are really nice and they're only $300. Gallup's like, oh, $300 must be too low. Let's raise the price on those. So now I found a company called Shark Road,
Yep.
and their exhausts for my bike are only $300, which maybe that's an unlucky number, and I shouldn't say anything because people start
I
buying them
have
and they'll
Shark
disappear.
Roads. That's what I put on the Vaquero after a while. I had those Vance and Hines, but they had no baffles, and I got sick of that real quick. So I ordered Shark Roads. I think for about $300. They were a wonderful pipe. Sounded great,
Yeah,
looked great. Even scraped the hell out of them coming out of my driveway. I don't know how many times, and more than I could count on a couple of hands. Um, and it barely showed really anywhere. Good pipe.
yeah, I plan on getting some. There's a company, and I can't remember the name of it, but they make and they come out of Indonesia, I think. But they're like $300, but it costs $150 to get them shipped here. So by the time you get them, you dumped $450, and it's like I might as well went down to Harley and got a pair for $450 by then.
Yeah, I think Shark Road was who I was looking at for a cheaper alternative for a 2-in-1 for my Sporty. And if I recall, they had something. Maybe don't put that in stone. It might not have been a Shark Road, but I'm like 70% sure it was.
They had some nice ones. I'm actually gonna look them up real quick.
Yeah, see what they have if they got that 2-in-1 for the Sporty. It's
They do. They do,
yeah.
and it's absolutely awesome. They got it in chrome. They've got some short ones. They've got some slip cut. But I do want some sound reduction, and I do want some noise control. But I want a 2-in-1. I like that 2-in-1 sound.
Yeah. One thing I think is kind of interesting that nobody ever does in the motorcycle exhaust world, it could really only be done with a 4 or 6 cylinder. You need more cylinders and you need a really high performance engine. I think it was back in the 90s. pipes on the NASCARs and made them sound like Formula One cars. What they did was they'd set up the pipe and the way that the exhaust pulses coming out of the motor would miss each other in timing, like with the bike's operation, and it sounded like Formula One. But you need a couple cylinders. You can't do it with like a V twin. It's just not enough pulses to really get that
Yeah.
Formula One ish sound. You could do it on like your BMW. You could do it on a Goldwing. You could probably do it on some inline fours. Uh, really like ported, polished. For lack of imagination, we'll say like something stage Ford for the import market.
I am trying to find. Yeah, to really, what's kind of crazy, the these people that put these speakers on their car that make their car sound like something else. And we were talking one night. It may have been on here. They were talking about Teslas. Now you can get a speaker system to make them sound like you're actually like a V8. And it's
Yeah,
like, doesn't that kind of just like negate everything that you're trying to, you know?
that's what was that old adage? Read it in like the New Yorker or something. I was sitting in a waiting room. It was like life imitating art, imitating life, or it was a movie. Uh, there was a thought about things begin imitating other things, and
Yeah,
for an electric car to be intimidated or you know pretending to be a ice engine, that's that's hilarious.
yeah. Do you remember the what was it called? Pimp My Ride.
Yeah,
And they would take these little Gremlins and little Chevy Caprices and stuff or Chevettes and stuff, and put these speaker systems on it that would just literally just drown the engine out and make it sound like something else. They're just gaudy. I mean, I get the idea of wanting to sound like a sleeper car, but I don't know, man. Something's wrong with that. Anyway, how do we get onto this? Yeah,
oh,
never
we
never
just
leave home
we
without
said
your exhaust. Yeah.
never leave home without your exhaust.
Something else, and this is again, so you talking about the Indie Ridge boots made me think about this. But gloves, I feel naked without my gloves.
Yeah, I ride to work often in my Nikes, um, but I don't ever not ride with like my helmet or gloves. Um, and I often take a lot of risky choices. I get that. I do so at my own peril. But there's a couple items I just won't budge on, and that's like gloves, helmet. Um, Speaking of Andy Ridge, I'm gonna have to do a video on this. So I hate that I guess now kind of dropping or foreshadowing a video. So I continue to buy stuff. I can't stop. I've got a problem. If it's motorcycle related, I'm probably trying it out. I bought the Harley boots, right? The Harley Hagerman, very well known line, came with like a maybe steel toe, had the shifter leather over the toe. Nice looking boot, very work boot esque. For me, wildly uncomfortable. Then, first time I'm trying them on, I tell people I'm a 200-pound gorilla. I don't mean to be. I don't know. It's growing up in the Midwest and it's effing cold. Um, we get locked into doing stuff the hard way. So I go to put these boots on, brand new out of the box. I rip the laces off them. Just the lace rips apart, and I said, "What? Yeah, that's not a good sign." So I don't know. I didn't like them. They're like a work boot. I got used to Indy ridges. They feel so much like a light shoe, or like a pillow for my foot.
Yeah,
So then I buy Odin. I love Odin's gloves. I love most of their glove lines, and they fit my hand really well. Um, Sometimes Indy Ridge gloves for my hand feel large, but I think Indy Ridge makes a superior product on either line. I just like the look of the Odin's more. Well, I bought Odin's boots, $230 some boots. First time I put them on, they got a little finger grab for the back of the boot. Ripped that clean off. Same problem I had on the way to Forgotten Angels when I was putting on the Shade Tree Surgeon Baja gloves,
mm,
and I ripped the Velcro right off of that. And I thought, man, this company is not made for 200-pound gorillas. It's made to look cool.
yeah,
They make nice gear, but it's not. it's not built for, I guess, someone as large and problematic as
Manly.
myself. Well, the Indy Ridge are still to this day my favorite, and it sucks sometimes in the summer because I really like the Armstrongs, but I always end up back at the Crow, and the Crow is so comfy. It's like I forget I have a riding boot on at all,
Yeah.
and that to me, I've said this to probably you. I know I've said it to Steve. I only wear the gear that makes sense. You know, when I'm headed out the door, I don't really try to overcomplicate it. You know, and maybe I should take a more safety conscious path through the world, but I don't. But the things I do remember to put on are probably the most important because if something's going to happen, that's my best chance at coming through it. And those crows, and usually my Bajas with the ripped off Velcros, and my helmet and a vest, and I'm out the door.
Yep. My favorite are the Crow. Any time of year I can wear the Crow. When it's hot, I would do the Crossfields, the perforated crows,
Yep.
and they are so comfortable. And then of course the Armstrongs are comfortable anywhere also. But if I'm gonna be on the saddle for a long time, I like the Crows or the Armstrongs because the bottoms are more
Yep.
sturdy.
Yep.
But dude, oh, what's that? I got some thumping.
Oh, that might have been me. Sorry.
No, it's a tick. It's a sound tick. There it goes. Okay. Anyway, where were we? Uh,
Gear we would take.
oh yeah. So yeah, and yeah, definitely gloves. So I went up to Harley yesterday. Harley called me and said, "Hey, if you can drop your bike off, we're gonna go through the bike. We're gonna clear it up. You know, we're gonna." Or it was Thursday, and they told me I had time left on my extended warranty. Well, I didn't even know I had an extended warranty, so that was kind of nice. I got it up there, gave it to them, and it took them 2 days to go through it. And then this morning they called me and they're like, "Oh yeah, you know, your tires are getting a little bare. Your clutch was making a weird noise. You've got 0.2, you got 2% water in your brake fluid. We could take care of all that. I'll get you a quote." And I went, "No."
Yeah.
They've been telling me I've had water in the brake fluid since I bought the bike. And the first time they told me it was at the 500-mile service. And I said, "Well, if it's already got water in it, shouldn't you guys just change it under warranty? Because it probably had it in there when you guys put it in." And he was like, "Oh no, this must be something in your riding condition." And I'm like, "Okay, so my brake reservoirs aren't sealing or something? Isn't that y'all's problem?" "No, no, it's something, you know. I mean, you know, it's probably something that, you know, maybe you washed the bike or pressure washed it." And I'm like, "I've had the bike for 30 days. I promise you, I did not pressure wash this bike." And so I left it alone. Well, it's a 21, so it's been September of 21. I bought the bike up to now, and they're still telling me that I got 2% water in it. And I'm like, "That's actually pretty good. It must be sealed because I'm not getting any more water in it." So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Some of these dealers, you've got good ones. You work at a nice one, but some of these dealers, man, even though they're really nice, they just try to drum up business, and I get it. But I mean, funniest thing was when I went today to drive it home.
Mm-hmm.
It's always had an O2 alarm since I bought it. They cleared the alarm. They told me it was fine. I'm driving it home. The bike is stuttering. I think it's going to die. It's really weird. All of a sudden, the O2 alarm comes back and the bike settles out. I'm like, all right. So, being a fuel injected bike, I think they say fuel injected bikes learn, the ECU will learn air fuel mixture, and it will accommodate it for altitude and you know, depth and vacuum or whatever, lack of oxygen in the atmosphere. So I think when they reset it, it starts at a baseline, and as I'm driving it, it's learning. And once it levels out, it's fine. But then I get the O2 alarm. So I'm wondering if it's just where I live. I don't know,
Hmm.
but it runs fine now. Jerry says he wants to try the Comanches. Yes, absolutely. Comanches are an awesome, awesome boot. One O my favorites, and they're very
I
comfortable.
was, I was so sad about those Odins. The boot looks the part. I mean, absolutely looks the bee's knees. You go to put it on, you know, if you look inside the Indy Ridges, Steve had the foresight to put that ankle padding part in there, and that fabric does not move when I slide my massive foot into the boot. And let's say maybe I'm not sliding, I'm shoving it in there. The boot doesn't move, it doesn't crumble, it doesn't crush, it holds strong. put my foot in these Odins, and immediately the material, like, I think ripped away from the inner, however it was on there. It's not stitched, or it's not. I don't even see like an adhesive line. It's just loose floating material. And so the moment I shoved my fat foot in there, the material moved underneath and like got wedged in weird ways. They zip on the side. So there's like this abundance of weird material down by my ankle and by the back of my foot. And I was thinking about that. Like, if I'm going to wear these for a long period of time, that's probably going to become a hot spot. That's obnoxious. I
Yeah.
really wanted these boots to be nice. And they're incredibly stylish, but mediocre at best.
My Red Wings did that. I loved my Red Wings. They were comfortable and they were easy to walk in. But once that bag starts ripping and it pulls away, then it all rolls up around your ankle and you're trying to get your foot out of it. They're slip-ons. And it'll roll up around your ankle and you can't get your foot out of the boot. So I had to go down there with a knife and cut the back of that cushion out to get my foot out of the boot. Well, now they're just
Oh,
worthless. And
yeah.
I talked to a boot company that said they could realign them for me for $100. I'm like, these boots only cost $200. So I'm literally might as well just spend another $200, buy another pair of boots. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the only problem I've ever had with Indy Ridges is a bike fell on one time, and I caught a piece of Langler into one time, and that's it. So
Huh.
I did have the Gen threes. I think it's my Crows that did it. When I the liner, the actual laminate, the one that says Indy Ridge that they put into the bottom of the shoe,
Yeah.
after about a year, peeled away. So it bunches up in the bottom of the shoe. But I think that's something by the time the Gen 4s came out, they had fixed it because I know people had said, yeah, it's starting to laminate away. But you got to remember, I wash these. But if I go in these boots and go out in the mud, like when I went to the Tennessee National Raceway, I filled the boots with mud because one day it was clay. That Friday we went, it was dusty, and I'm talking super dusty. We came back and we looked red. We all looked sunburned, and then it washed off. And then the next day it rained all day, so we're walking around in ankle deep mud all day. So I get home, take them into the shower with me, both pairs, and just wash them in the shower with me and rinse them out. And then take them in the tub and put some Dawn liquid in them and rinse them out and soap them up. Put them on the boot dryer, and they look perfect now. I'm rough on these boots. I'm very rough. And first time I told Steve I was taking him to the bathtub and washing them out in the bathtub, he's like, "Man, I wish you wouldn't do that." I'm like, "Why? I trust the boots. I don't think anything's going to happen to them." And so now it's just a joke. I put it on Instagram one time. I'm holding the boots up in the shower, and I said, "Steve, guess what's fixing to happen to these boots?" And now he just laughs about it. But I think for when the first time he did it, he's like, "Well, this is a real test. See if they live
It'd
through
be
this."
fun to mess with him, like, shoot him off an email like, "Hey, I put these boots in a furnace and they didn't survive. What do you got to say for yourself?"
I actually, when I was coming back from your house that time, I called him and I had the Armstrongs, the perforated Comanches, and
Hmm.
I said, "Hey, I just rode these through a rainstorm for 4 hours. How do you think they fared? What do you think the waterproof percentage is?" He goes, "Zero." And I said, "Actually, like 50%." And he goes, "I wouldn't think it'd be that high." And I was like, "They're your boots. Why don't you believe they'd be that high?" So, yeah, funny enough, I rode from all the way from your house to St. Louis, and when I got there, and it was actually probably more like 5.5 hours. When I took the boots off to change my socks, all of my sock wasn't wet,
Huh, there
just
you
around
go.
the ankles. So I'm like, these actually still hold water pretty well. I mean, repel water pretty well, even though they're perforated. So
Yeah, so you see, in your Armstrongs that trip was what made me like immediately want to get them. I was like, man, that's a good looking
they're
boot.
sexy, man. They're sexy,
Yeah,
comfortable.
yeah,
Can walk all day. For what we
and
were doing with them,
that matters. It does. I find myself sometimes I do wear a boot, and I need it to be comfortable but also functional. And because dealership life moves on a different schedule, I get to work at 8:30 a.m. and then I work till 7 p.m. That's that's the rub. That's dealership life. You're there during the hours of operation, doing your position. And having something that's going to allow my foot to live through the day is pretty important. I actually stopped wearing my little like lightweight Vans. I don't know, they're more like a boat shoe. They offer nothing in the way of standing on a floor all day. Where like the Nikes, they're wonderful. I ought to just leave them at work because yeah, they're the best.
Yeah, and my boots. I work in a pharmaceutical plant, so there's places you walk where it's slick. There's places you walk where there's ointment on the floor. There's places you walk where it's wet, and there's places you walk where it's dusty and there's powder on the floor. And no matter what I'm walking through, these boots can stand up. I mean, and then I ride home in them. So all day long, all day standing. Millie, welcome in.
Speaking of, travel, here's another one I've noticed recently because I've been trying to deal with a problem. And the problem is windshields for my Connie, which I love. I love this bike so much. I have so much fun on it. 20-some-year-old bike's old enough to drink. Absolute blast. What a blast of a bike. Well, the windshield I have is very, I don't know, kind of, I think it was like an Amazon special. This one, unlike the factory, has a cutout. And if you're riding in hot weather and you don't have a way to get air to you, I've noticed that's pretty awful. Whereas this windshield with the cutout, or a lot of your newer Harleys or other bikes, the way your Beamer's windshield is, it lets air come in
Yeah.
and hit you in the chest, and you can flip up your lid a little bit and actually breathe again. And on a
Yeah.
hot day, man, that's a nice little thing to have. So I started looking. I ordered a windshield like 2.5 years ago now. I looked it up. I looked up the email chain with me and the guy from Rifle Windshields, some place that made these really badass windshields for concourses. 3 years ago or 2 years ago, we were still chatting, and I was like, "Hey man, is this windshield ever gonna happen? I mean, I paid you money, and you said I'm in a queue. I'm like number 27, but it's been like a really, really, really long time, and he was still responding like, "Oh yeah, these windshields they're handcrafted and they take a long time, but it's gonna come to you. You want it clear, right? Those take longer. We don't have as many of them." And I'm like, "I thought you just said you're making them individual." "Oh, it's all good." Company went out of business. You go look up rifle.com now.
Yeah.
404 not found. So dude got my money. I never did get the badass windshield with it was a system to where you got a part, but then you could put multiple people's windshields on it, and it had a place for event. Beautiful system.
Yeah.
That's why I spent the money. Well, today while doing research, I found another company called Madstad that about the same time the Concourse was popular had a windshield. They still make windshields, but not for that model. I sent them an email. I was like, "Hey, you got one for a display? I know how you guys work. You probably got a display somewhere out there in the waiting room. Send me that display model." Or you got a dusty one, a box full of ones that somebody returned. Hook a longtime concourse lover up. I'll pay for it. I'm not asking for no freebies, man. I'm asking for like 30 minutes of one of your employees' time to go crack that. I know you got one. I know how we got crap in our back room. We got crap from 50 years ago. I just sold a bolt for a 73 shovel head this morning, and it was obsolete. I don't know how long it's been obsolete. It's been obsolete for a long time, sitting back there in our inventory. Gone now.
Good job.
Yeah, $1.09 I made the company today.
Well, I had another. So we were talking about 2-in-1s earlier, and I found a 2-in-1 exhaust somewhere down in Lakeland, Florida. And the guy's like, "I'll ship it to you at $200. It's shipped to you." And so I'm looking, and I was like, "All right." I said, "Can I pay through PayPal?" And he goes, "Well, pay to," and it wasn't PayPal; it was something else. And then pay it to this. Shoot, Dan knows what it was, but it's when I went to pay it, it came up as some lady's name, and I was like, "Hey, why does this say this is lady's name, not your company?" And he goes, "Oh, well, she's our accountant, and everything goes through her name, and so we just use her money direct or whatever." And I was like, "Well, that sounds kind of shady." And he's like, "No, no, no, just go ahead and send the money, man. This will be fine." And so Diana looked the lady up, and she works at some real estate company, and I'm like, "Hey, this isn't even." If she's your money lady in the front, your clerk, why does it say that she works at some real estate? "Oh, she does real estate on the side, man. But she takes care of this. She just pays it back through us." And I went, "This is starting to look shady as hell. Okay, never mind, man. I don't want this." And
Yeah, it
for
might not
about
be a pyramid, but it's a scheme.
Well, about for 3 weeks, this dude is emailing me almost every day. I swear it's not a scam. I swear it's not a scam, man. Just send me the $200 and I'll ship it for absolutely free, man. Just send me the money, man. And I'm like, well, I'm definitely not sending you the money now. I mean, this is too weird. I mean, what seller literally just bothers you, just harasses you every day to send them money? Like, this something's very wrong with this. And then I looked up one day, and the dude's all his stuff on eBay had just disappeared. So he didn't even have a shop on eBay anymore. So it's just weird. I know shops have eBay accounts because sometimes it's like I work with a company in Minnesota that they've got thousands of parts because it's easier for them to sell parts through eBay than it is sometimes to sell them on a brick and mortar because some guy that wants a rear foot peg set from a '09 Kawasaki might be in Florida when you're in Minnesota and he's not going to come get it. So it's easier to do eBay, but this something about this was just weird. So
Well, and I got my
and
own
they're out there.
gripes with the market, I guess, not with eBay. eBay is a good site, it offers a good service. On the other hand, the market itself is kind of nonsense. So a brand new concourse windshield for an aftermarket one is between 180 and $230. Those two really cool windshields I talked about earlier, they were in that $230 range. If you go on there and you look for an original, like OG OEM concourse windshield, it's $230 or more. So it's like, if you want to buy a used vintage one, it's this price. If you want to buy it brand new, it's this price.
Yeah.
The problem is those cool ones aren't available. eBay's got several of the OEM ones, but they don't have the wind cut out. So it's like, ugh, I like having this little bit of wind.
Well, I got
Uh,
the Puke for mine off of eBay and it was $99, and it was a misform. So where they would normally punch them and like cut the edges off of them, it had like a flare. I can't remember what they call it. A flash. It had a flash. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, I could just sand that off, which they probably should have done in the original factory. But I think once they punch them out and send them to Puke to get the mounting brackets put on it, then it's too late for them to flash them. So they just throw them in either throwaway or the bargain bin pile. I've had that on there now for 2 years, and it's perfect. And it was the third of the price buying it through eBay. Same thing with my foot pegs. It come from the same company that makes them for Harley, but they had oversprayed the threads. So when they shipped them from there, and that's how they do it. They don't they don't make it in the same factory that they pack it, paint it, and ship it to you. They mold them in one factory, they send them to another factory and spray paint them. They mold them, put them to another factory, put them in a box. And so when they found out that it was oversprayed, they're like, well, it's not like we're gonna get another department out here that's gonna run taps for all this shit. So it goes in the bargain bin. So instead of paying $300 for this foot set, I got them for $50 because I had to tap out the paint holes myself. Sometimes you can save a lot of money doing that if you're mechanically inclined enough to fix this stuff.
yeah, yeah. That's all I'm asking for. I know they got some misprints of that windshield up in that. They got a warehouse somewhere in a
Try
closet.
Pug. They have Pugs that have that cutout, and look on eBay, and they sell all the misprints through eBay.
Huh. All right. I'd like a little larger windshield for that fairing I put on the Sportster. Uh, it's great, but it could be a little taller. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my only complaint about the one I got. I put the Krator on the my Sportster, which is the same thing as the Burley. Same kit, same hardware, and it even has the same instructions as the Krator. My Krator instructions were labeled Burley on one side and Krator on the other side, so it's the exact same windshield, but it's a third of the price, or fairing rather.
Nice.
So I'm a cheapskate. I'm a cheap old man. I will I will save money everywhere I can, especially if all it's going to take is 5 minutes of maintenance to fix something. I have no problem using eBay. I love eBay.
And see, I'm cheap on a lot of stuff. But man, I'll pay some prices for motorcycle gear. Holy smokes, I go all in. I'm just like, price is no object. Let's get her done. What gets it done? You know?
Money gets it
And,
done.
yeah, and then I don't know. I find myself going down all these rabbit holes. I'd really like a mag wheel for the front end of my sporty. But just like you've been looking at. I seen you looking at some dynos. I've been looking at some dynos too, and I'm like, how much more money do I put into the sporty? Obviously, I want to finish the sporty.
Yeah.
I want to get the fairing painted, and I want to throw that motor kit I bought for it in. And with my discount and stuff, I think I'll have a pretty good idea what it's going to cost and be able to get it done here before winter. But then moving forward, I have a finished sporty. I got my Connie, but I still like a big romper ripper, you know. And I keep looking at these dynos. Man, the dream bike's that 84. Is it the 84 FXR Police? Man, what a looker! What a great bike. Kind of like with the was it the KZ 1000, the
Yeah.
Kawasaki police bike. Wow, what a great time for motorcycles. And
80s were a good time for motorcycles. Even the AMF years. I mean, everybody makes fun of the AMFs because they were shit bikes or whatever. But I had a friend. I may have told you this story before, but I had a friend who used to know a bunch of guys who worked in the Harley factory, and they would mess up the bikes on purpose. They'd like put a bolt or something in the head, or they would not put a rod in or something on the valve. And this dude would tell this guy, here's what we did to these bikes, and this dude would order these things through Milwaukee, get them delivered, spend about a day to fix what they fucked up on them because when they were rolling these bikes off the line, they wouldn't start, and he'd have a running bike in 2 days. So the
oh
things
yeah,
that they did to those bikes, they did intentionally. Like wouldn't tighten the oil lines or they wouldn't put a seal in or something, and it was
well,
stuff
and
that was easy to fix.
I think in parts of it, some of the criticism for AMF was warranted, but in other parts, people don't seem to read their history books. Who was funding the development of Project Nova and at the same time simultaneously funding the development of the Evolution model motor? AMF. When the Harley board got the money together to buy the company back from AMF, they inherited both Project Nova and the Evolution motor. And the Harley board, then with AMF gone, said, we don't have any money. We have a choice to make. We can't do both. We need to pick one of these two motors, and that's going to be the flagship. We're going to build all the models from that. And they picked the Evolution motor. What they were trying, AMF, what AMF was trying was unheard of. The only company around that time that was doing what they had done was Norton, where they were using the motors as a stress member. Now it's a pretty common practice.
Yeah.
It was not back in 79, 80, and 81 during Project Nova. That wasn't a common practice. A big part of it was because cast. Cast is good under compression, it's not good under tension. You start getting cases separating and stuff. So the early days of the metallurgy and the moldings and how they were putting these bikes together wasn't great, but they were working with what they had. The Project Nova, it looks cool and people see it and they're like, oh, I know a little bit about that. They don't have any clue of how far advanced, how future bike that was. That was Tron compared to everything else of that time. Well, AMF was the one putting that together. And had they not been struggling so hard from some of the bad sales and all the other stuff, and Harley we don't like where you're going with stuff. Um, and a lot of that's Willie G as well, really saving the design parts of the company and really helping them roll out a style and a brand that people wanted to be a part of again. And there was there was a lot of stuff going on. And although AMF always gets this bad rap, not all of it's warranted. They
Yeah.
were
I don't think any of it was. I mean, granted, everybody talks about AMF. We just talked about that, but a lot of it was not AMF itself. It was and I hate to say it, but it was the workers sabotaging it because they knew if they could get the price down enough on the stock, they could buy it themselves. This was a very long-standing plan they had, and they put it to fruition, and it worked. But at the cost of sacrificing people's faith in the company.
well, the rewards. Capitalism at its core rewards the most ruthless. And that's pretty ruthless. And it
Yeah,
worked.
yeah. I'll say it worked for the workers, but I think it. I just think got to think what a great company it would have been if everybody would have been all in on it and they could have made the company better. And would it originally have been, employee owned? No. Would it have been at a great company? Absolutely. Would it have looked funny because a bowling ball company and a tennis racket company owns a motorcycle company? Look at Kawasaki. Look at Yamaha. Look at a lot of these companies who are, Kawasaki is not a motorcycle builder. They do that for fun on the side. Kawasaki makes large diesels and forklifts and in giant diesel and marine engines. That's what they were known for until they decided to go, let's make a motorcycle.
Hmm.
Look at Lamborghini. Lamborghini was a tractor maker up until the owner of Lamborghini decided to go buy I think it was a Ferrari. And Enzo Ferrari told him no. And he said, screw you, then I'll go bank my own. And Lamborghini started making cars. So I don't think it would have been that weird. I think they just tried to social media of the time, I guess, is what made it look weird.
Yeah, yeah. Kawasaki's got a great history. Um, I think it might be Shade Tree. This is like one of his 7-year old videos or something. He did a video about Kawasaki, like a documentary style video, and it's excellent. Oh, what an excellent video! Kind of one of those things that made me like, hey, there's so many stories I want to tell. I got to figure out how to tell them.
Yeah. Yamaha was a piano maker.
Yeah. Yep.
And some of their first, you know, clutch cables were piano wire, braided piano wire. Look at, what was it? Harley. Harley, actually, the engine and the carburetor was derived from a boat company. The guy that owned Evinrude sat down with one of the Harley guys originally back in 1902, and they were like, we're building crappy, we need a better carburetor because this carburetor we're using basically is just running off of, liquid fuel. How do you carburate these boats? And the guy's like, hey, I'll just make some for you. And Evinrude made all of the first carburetors on the Harleys that were actually mass produced. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. That's such history. Such cool stuff. I was watching another documentary the other day. It kind of pissed me off. It was about Mike Wolf. Mike Wolf could have been a real pillar, or was a real pillar in the heritage and sort of vintage motorcycle community. The guy's base of knowledge around early and turn of the century bikes was as deep as the ocean. He got involved in a bunch of like nefarious dealings with artifacts and some link to a deceased person, and now he's in prison. But when he was the American Picker guy, he he was acclaimed for his knowledge and
I
skill when
had
it
no
came
idea.
to.
I had never heard of that. Who's the guy that just died?
That was his partner,
His
Frank.
partner died, Frank. Yeah,
Fritz.
yeah.
Yeah, that was like one of those. I thought it was going to be like the all American story. A couple of guys rising to greatness, and man, that really fell
So,
apart.
so tell us the Mike Wolf story. What did he go to jail for?
I was just watching this the other day, but it was in between a couple other documentaries. You might want to just check it out. But it was like he got involved in some nefarious dealings with artifacts from some other country and trying to get them over here at some cheap price. Uh, and then something to do with a dead person.
I know the Vegas guys with that pawn shop in Vegas. Those guys got in a lot of trouble for was it accepting stolen merchandise, accepting stolen gold and stuff.
One part of it was, and I don't. Again, there must. Let me do some quick fact checking before I start telling a full story about Mike Wolf and his tale. Oh, see, very glad we just fact checked this. Oh man, MSN right here, top search.
Yeah.
Uh, in March of or April of 2025, videos surfaced on social media alleging, without any evidence to corroborate the claim, that Mike Wolf, host of the History Channel show, had done all these nefarious things. They're saying it's absolutely not true. That makes me feel
Good,
better.
because
That makes me feel so much better because he's like a pillar. He's someone I look up to. Like, he's a moto historian. Oh, I hope they catch the
I'm,
people that attempted to soil his good name.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I
And
feel
see,
so
I knew he
good.
was too angelic for that.
Yeah, look at this smile. Oh, you guys can't see my screen. He's
Share your
got a
screen.
nice smile. How do I do that?
At the very bottom on the backstage, there's a little button that says share right over the next to the hang up button. Look right under your picture, or maybe it's under my picture on backstage.
Select tab. This one.
Yeah, happy dude.
Claim. Here's what I was watching some video. I probably watched the damn misleading video because I consume so much content. That's why everyone out there, I hope you see and learn from your old buddy Bleak. You gotta fact check because the internet's full of BS.
Well, I've been watching all these clips on It's Not Real, which is
Yeah.
funny enough. This one of them was this woman. She's on the beach, and she goes, "We're here off the North Shore beach in Carolina, and there's a giant kraken attacking. It's okay, I'm not real." And there's
Yeah.
a kraken rising up out of the water. And then
I
another
just
one.
seen.
This guy's he goes, "We're here at the first something elementary school where bears are being considered for new bus drivers since their willingness to drive through the woods." And there's bears crawling off all these school buses with the kids. And the guy's like, "It's okay, I'm not real." And
Yep.
another one was a hurricane or a tornado touching down and picking up cows, and then the hurricane turns or the tornado goes and spits a cow out. And the guy goes, "It's okay, I'm not real." So, and AI is so realistic now, you can't tell the difference.
Yeah, it's messed up. I seen one of those same videos that you were just mentioning. Ladies in like a flooded area, and a shark comes
Yeah,
up out of the water and goes by,
yeah,
and she goes, "But it's okay, I'm not real." And I
yeah.
was
I
like,
saw that one too.
I would have fainted, or I don't know, I'd have been a shark meat. I ain't no way I'm staying awake for that.
There was one I saw today that was it looked absolutely real. She's sitting there in a storm, and all of a sudden, the wind picks up, and she's like leaning sideways, like 45 degrees. And then there's this guy behind her, like with his arms out, and all of a sudden he starts floating, and his buddy's holding him, and his buddy lets him go, and then he's flying like a kite, and all of a sudden a 2x4 flies through there and hits him, and he flies away. It was like it looked real right up until it got so unrealistic that it's like, okay, that's not real.
Well, I some of it I find real off-putting because like I did a video on one of these AI channels, and what a bunch of bad vibes,
It
man.
looks very
Uh,
real. Yeah,
well, this one channel, it's like an AI voice and an AI generated picture or a bunch of them, and then I think stock or B roll video that they snag off of manufacturers' sites, and it's just crapping all over companies. Their whole business model for these channels is just outrage, outrage,
yeah,
outrage. This is the end of insert brand,
yeah.
and here's why. And it's 20-minute video, and for all intents purposes, it's very well put together in some regards. It's also very bad in others, like the fingerprints of the AI are all over it. The simple mistakes with like fingers and exhaust pipes and stuff that AI does that I spot like a hawk, that's all over it. Just if you want to know if a bike's AI or an image of a bike's AI, look at the exhaust pipes. AI
Well,
does not understand where to put exhaust pipes.
well,
It'll put them in the
yeah,
craziest places.
I've been trying to show people pictures of the new the M1, the Tesla motorcycle, and I'll see a picture and they'll have a video showing it, and all of a sudden I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's not it. There's the dash isn't where it's supposed to be, and the display's not where it's supposed to be, and the wheels don't look right. And then as it turns, there's always something AI that messes it up that makes you go, okay, that's it. But it's getting closer, and it's getting better, and it's getting more
I was just
realistic.
fooled with a deep fake of Mike Wolf, and and was ready to believe that. Yep, he's a bad guy.
Yep.
That it bothers me deeply.
As it should. As it should.
playing loose and fast with people's reputation, man. That ain't cool.
All right. Chase and Go stepped in, didn't have time to say hi. A romantic dinner at Waffle House. I need to go to Waffle House.
That sounds so awesome, Ghost.
Yeah. You guys throw in what you won't leave home without. I know Ghost said he was in a hurry tonight, but or Bleak. But you still in a hurry, or can you hang out?
I'll hang out. I'll hang out. I had multiple projects going, and I was gonna start working on another video I was editing. But I'm with my friend. I'm with my friends, my brothers and sisters of the road. Let's kick it.
I had the idea today. I was supposed to, so I got the handlebars in for the Kawasaki, and I didn't realize the handlebars were bent on it until I got it up into the front wheel chock and got it standing straight and got it strapped in. And then one handlebar was up and one was down, and I'm like, yeah, those are bent. So I got new handlebars for it. I got new grips for it, but I'm not going to put the new grips on it until I put the new handlebars on it. I'm fighting the urge to. It'll run now. The tires will hold air. Front tire holds all the air. The back tire will leak down in about 2 days. So I'm thinking I can put these new bars on, get it out on the road because there's no fairing on it. The lights aren't on it. Nothing. I'll just zip tie all the lights out of the wheels where they don't get stuck in the tires, and put the seat on temporarily and just try to ride it and see what it does. I do need to make a left foot shift or a left foot peg plate because it's just missing.
Um, I don't know what kind of grips you picked out. One thing that is pretty beneficial on a sport bike is bar weights.
Yes,
So yeah, I was gonna say if you haven't considered some or your grips don't have them, definitely consider them because what they do for the handling is incredible.
I was just talking today. We were watching Nata on the road, and she took hers off, and she's like, "What are these? These are so heavy. There's like a half a kilo a piece. I'm taking these off. These are no good. This is way too much weight." And I'm like, if she takes those off, she's gonna realize why they're there.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah, I was watching some of that. She's been putting out a lot more content, really high quality content.
yeah.
She's really kicking it up a notch.
Speaking of which, next weekend, I've been bugging her for the last 3 months, and she's like, as soon as I finish this next series, as soon as I get the bike ready, I'll do another interview. And so I keep like, are we ready? Are we ready? And she's like, 2 more weeks, and that was last week. So hopefully by next weekend, she'll have everything calmed down enough, and she won't be busy. We can do our next interview because she
Uh,
did the best interview.
oh, she did the best interview, and she's such a cool personality. Her, um, what is it? Because I know her as Blind Thistle as well.
Amanda,
As the Magpie Flies,
yeah,
and then Itchy Boots. The content these ladies put out is top of the world. It is superlative. Just the best, the most high quality, and with the realest, most down to earth riders you could imagine. If anybody in the chat hasn't seen Nada on the road or the others I mentioned, you gotta go check them out. They are putting out the best, like really out there travel videos.
yeah. And I have the distinction of being the person that talked Nata into doing her channel. She was not going to do a YouTube. And when we were talking, she said we actually did an interview, like a screen talk first before we did the interview, and I was like, you should really get into YouTube because it makes a lot more money. She goes, well, I make a little money off of Instagram, and I make a little money here. And I said, if you get on YouTube, you will make consistent money. And she goes, well, I don't really like making long form videos. She goes, I wouldn't know how. And I said, just take your smaller ones, put a couple of them together, and make a video. And I said, tell you what, when we do this interview, I will send you the video, and it'll be your first video on your YouTube. And she laughed about it. She's like, no, I don't think I'll do that. And I said, I'll put it up and I'll give you the link. She downloaded it. It's almost been 2 years ago. And when she put her YouTube up, if you go to her YouTube now, I'm the very first video on her page. Is
That's
me interviewing
nice.
her. So,
That's
and
nice.
she's taken off from there, and I have no problem in
She
saying
has.
she's gotten much bigger than me.
Oh, she's doing
But
so good.
yeah, she's doing
Well,
awesome.
that's a testament to what she's doing. She's creating solid content that's inspiring to man or woman alike.
Yeah,
Uh, Everybody in between can get behind what she's doing. It's great stuff, and she takes you along like you're right there with her.
and
And
she's human. She shows her mistakes. She shows her failures. She
treats you
shows when
like an
she's
adult.
not riding that well. She's like Amanda. Amanda does the same thing. If Amanda falls, she shows you that she falls. You
So
know,
humble about it.
if she doesn't know what a button does on the motorcycle, she'll tell you. I have no clue what this is.
I watched Amanda's video with Doodle, where they went and did the rider training courses for the off road rider with like the top BMW GS top world
Yeah, I can't remember what her name
moto
is, but
talent
yeah,
school. And watching Amanda's frustration level rise to the point where she was like crossing through a limit
yeah,
as she discovered new abilities within herself and the often rocky road that is, testing and finding new edges to your limits or overcoming them. That was such a good, powerful stuff. Because when you see someone work through an issue, work through a problem, work through learning and becoming better, that's humbling stuff.
yeah. And she's very. I think the reason she attracts so many people is because a new rider, their biggest fear is looking embarrassed. Now you're
Sure.
looking at Amanda Zitto, and she's been riding for like almost 20 years, a little more than 20 years. And she'll tell you in a video, this is where I had to pull off and cry because I thought I was failing. You know, well, shit, if the girl that literally is riding around the world and has rode across America 4 times that she's videoed, can say, yeah, this is hard. This is where I had it hard. And I was thinking about maybe I should stop. Well, then I don't feel so bad those days that I don't feel like I should stop today. This is the day that it's hard. Okay, but then you see her get right back on it and try again. It's like, okay, well, she failed. Then I failed, and I can do it because she did it. So it very much humanizes it, and I think that's what draws a lot of people to other people is when they get humanized and they're like, I'm not a superhuman. I'm just a normal person, and I'm just like you, and it's appealing.
So, her two wheels, right? Got to meet her and Jordan. I really like Jordan's content. He has a very unique vision about how he shoots his videos. I really enjoy it, and he's also very mellow, which is something I really like in people. You know, I just mellow, good vibes. Well, anyway, I had a chance to meet her. That was at Florida, and she had just done her. Oh, I did an iron butt like back to back video, and I was like, man, that sounds so cool. That would really save me so much time if I could just knock out like 1,000 miles a day as opposed to the 500 I've scheduled. Because every time I do 500 miles, I'd feel pretty beat up. I'd feel pretty like, yeah, I did good today. But then double, triple that, or there's riders that just smash those numbers. Those are rookie numbers, you know. And I said something to her at the Forgotten Angels, and she's like, "Oh, iron butts are easy." I was like, "Man, all right. When I leave here Sunday morning, I'm iron butting it. I'm gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna track it or anything. I don't. I do things for myself, you know, or like to do them. I said, but I'm gonna do this. Yeah, I'm inspired. And that day, I knocked out my biggest number, 750 miles in one day, and it got weird. It started getting kind of weird up inside my helmet. I was like talking to myself, or I'd like kind of wake up and be like, who's been driving?
Who's here with me?
Yeah,
Who's
who's
in my
riding
head?
this bike? But I mean, then I pulled off because I was like, you know what? I think I'm at my limit for the day, and I pulled off, and I checked it, and it was like 750 miles, and I was like, so I didn't do 1,000. I'm pretty happy with what I did here today, though. I'm pretty. That was a new personal best for me. Thank you, Jess, for I don't know, for a little push to try a little harder. You know, and ultimately, it didn't even change how long it took me to get back home.
Yeah.
But it still was like a really great feeling, man.
There are times like I mean I've shot down to Florida before and not even stopped and got there, within like 14 hours. And there are times I've rode and got outside of Georgia there and said, "Yep, this is where I'm stopping." Didn't feel bad about it at all because there's some days sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. And there's days that you feel better than other days, and you do what you can and be proud about what you did. Because, hey,
Yeah.
guess what? Out of all the people that watch Shade Tree, that's like almost 300,000. There's only like 300 or 400 of us that'll actually ride all the way down there to see him. So I feel like a winner.
No, he's out there doing great works, man. I hope someday when he ends up old and gray. People remember the great works he did.
Yeah. Louisiana Turkey Butt, welcome in. Jocelyn Snow, yes, that was her at the BMW Venture Rider School. That girl is only, I think, like 4'11", Jocelyn Snow,
Oh yeah,
and she
just
rides a full size BMW R. Well, now it's R 1300 RT or GS rather.
I want you to think about this. She teaches people to ride motorcycle blindfolded.
Yeah,
They can't see. You go outside and just put a stocking cap over your eyes and attempt to manipulate, not even move. Just try to manipulate your motorcycle. See how it goes. You'll get funky.
I see people in Memphis doing that all the time. They'll drive without even looking at the road. They're just staring at their phone for like, you know, 30, 40 minutes. So yeah,
It's not just there, man. Here in Iowa, we move at a slower pace. The amount of people, bad drivers, and just on their phone, or I don't even know what some of them are doing. I'm on bike. I look in just to see if they're awake. Like I kind of have this moment where I constantly evaluate people and ask, "Do you know what you're doing?"
there are times I would look at somebody just to see if I can see their head and see where they're looking.
Yeah,
And if I can't tell where they're looking, I get by them as fast as I can because people are absolutely stupid.
yeah.
But I'll never forget this. Aaron, nothing at random, was talking about he was riding around Columbus one day and he saw a lady in a car eating a plate of spaghetti driving.
That's incredible. That's so
That
scary.
story will always come back to me.
Well, I'm pretty sure I seen a lady doing her makeup with a book open on the steering wheel, and it was in a big truck. It was like one of them big knobbed out trucks.
Yeah, that I
So
believe.
enough weight that if she were to not have control of that truck, it'd be tantamount to like a tractor trailer. It'd just be this giant, massive object that doesn't stop on a dime.
Yeah, people have. I've always told my kids driving is the only thing that you're going to do all day that you're probably going to kill somebody off or yourself, and take it very seriously. I see
Well,
a lot of people that don't.
it's more dangerous than gun deaths.
Yeah, absolutely.
People don't put it into context.
Guys, put down in the comment what do you. We kind of got off track, but that's what makes it fun. Put down in the comment what you will not leave to do on a motorcycle trip without. Christian Biker, welcome in. I don't know if I've already told you or not, but welcome. Louisiana Turkey Bed, I'm assuming you're from Louisiana. Welcome. Let's see. What's been going on with you, man? I see you got another dog. You got another cat. What else have you got another of? Bleak?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's some stuff I'll tell you in private, and there's everything else. I told you what bikes I'm rocking around the house. Man, it's always the same gig every weekend. I work all week, these long hours. The weekend gets here, and half of my weekend spent just trying to beat back the horde of jungle vines and volunteer trees that keep trying to plant themselves in my backyard and along the fence line. And my poor neighbor, he's so nice. He's got the same problem. So it's almost like we're both out there on fire watch all the time. Like, just, you beat your side back, I'll beat mine. He'll borrow somebody's chainsaw and just. But then we got these green bins. You got to rent these green bins as an addition to your garbage bin. Uh, that you can put brush or different stuff in, but there's rules. It has to be cut into little sizes. If it's all big and a mess, don't be doing that. You know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was living. I assume it's probably worse in big cities. Des Moines is like the best little big city. Like if big cities were only 300,000 or 400,000 people, it makes it way more mellow and friendlier. We all hold the doors for each other. It's a pretty nice, polite little society we got down here. But then 6 months out of the year, the weather's just awful.
Yeah. We just finally got a bagel place. Oh, so this is funny. The other day, I'm pulling all my receipts out for my trips for my taxes, and I come across one, and I'm looking at the name on it, and I'm like, when did I go there? That's a weird place. It almost sounds like a strip bar. When did I go to a place like that? And I'm like, I didn't spend a ton of money there, but where did I go? And then I find another one. It had the bagels on it. Remember the cream cheese and onion and what was it? Something else. But it was that bagel place we went to.
Oh yeah, yeah. Five borough bagel.
Was it Five Bros?
Yeah, five boroughs.
But yeah, I totally forgot about it. And so we have a place here now, a bagel place that we've been trying to go to. It's in the ritzy part of town that they're building. They had to. It used to be just an open cornfield and soybean field, and there was big silos out there, big grain silos. And so they started building this little shopping center around the silos, and they call it Silo Square. And all of a sudden, it just got ritzy. So instead of having little cool shops there, they had coffee shops and little purse shops and little bagel shops and a really upscale sushi shops, and went from being a little cornfield to being a place that you really can't afford to go to. So, but I still want to go to the bagel shop though.
Yeah. Well, and like Five Borough, one of the reasons they nail it so hard is something I don't have in my kitchen, which is it's not like a what do they call them, a salamander. It's not really a broiler, but it's a way to melt things in certain ways that it happens like a flash. And so one of the things they're really good at was different toppings on the bagel itself. So I get like an everything bagel, but it has like a cheese and jalapeno crust on it. And so then when they put the corned beef in there, and what was I getting, like either provolone or Swiss, and then the spicy pickles and spicy mustard. Now you've got this mass. I don't know what it was probably in it, 660 calories or something, some insane number. But it was every bit of it was just
Yeah, I'm still bad. I wanted so I ended up leaving that bagel in your refrigerator. It was what was it? Dill and onion, I think is what it was. But oh, I hope it was good. I hope either you or your wife enjoyed it because it was.
I think I ate it. If I recall, like you were gone, and I was like, "Well, he's not coming back." I was probably talking to Lauren,
Yeah,
justifying my actions.
I
He's not
wasn't
coming
coming
back.
back. No,
I'm gonna eat this bagel.
I was actually thinking when I got to Chesterfield and it was raining really hard. I'm like, I'm gonna pull off. I'm gonna eat this bagel, and then I vaguely remembered, yeah, I don't have that bagel. I never loaded it up. It's like, well, I hope he enjoys it.
Yeah, I
But
did. This is
yeah, I think Diana, we're gonna go see that bagel place tomorrow morning. We got to get there. Bagel Nook is it's called. It's called Bagel Nook.
oh, sounds mysterious too.
Yeah, so we'll have to go tomorrow
It sounds like a little place you go and you eat your bagel, you climb into a book.
and read a book. Yeah,
Yeah,
that does sound good. I love reading. I do love reading.
yeah.
Too fun.
I apparently love reading fiction. This American Pickers stuff still has. I'm sorry, I'm kicking over it. I try so hard to not fall into that stuff. Bam, fell right into one.
Dude, some of that stuff, man, I mean, it's like you want to believe it, but you don't want to believe it. But also, it's kind of like half, and that's the worst. The ones that are kind of believable that could be true, and you're like, maybe this could be true. And what's horrible is they'll fold reality around a lie and make it look like they're telling you the truth,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
make it
and
look
there's
so
so much
real.
information coming at us every day that it's almost impossible to fact check it all. You know, if you'd spend your whole day just doing that. So you've got stuff coming at you. I don't know. I've got a device, this supercomputer that just runs around with me wherever I go, and it's constantly allowing me to see endless streams of content.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder. Maybe we are living in a matrix because what they're coming out with now. I think our inner technology is finally catching up with the technology that's running our life, and it's like, when does it breach the gap? When does it fold? And all of a sudden we don't. The reality that we are living isn't real. We just don't know it.
Well, the interesting thing about it is, let's say we're living in a matrix. Let's go down this thought experiment. What would they be running the simulation for? Well, the only feasible reason would be for testing purposes. So, what are they testing? Well, they'd be testing different aspects of the human experience. What is it most of us are all trying to do in our lives? We're trying to enjoy them. Most everyone has a couple of certain needs: sleep, food, and enjoyment. You know, the spice of life. For us, it's writing. We're most happy actually removed from technology as we understand it. We're out there on a machine, getting wind and road and experience. There's people who climb into a video game. For them, they're there. That's their in a different world and a different time where they can be whoever they want to be. For them's it. And so it seems like we're all running towards something, all through our own different paths, or some of us in groups. But it's for experience. It's for entertainment. It's for fun. It's to have a good life because it's so short. It's the only thing that really gives it meaning is if we do something with it. It's so short. Ours is such a short existence, and it's amazing what we've accomplished as this little civilization in such a short time over the last 2,000 years, really.
Yeah. I saw this thing the other day. So how to know how to tell that we're living in a matrix. And the one number one, the first one was, have you ever seen your, how often do you go grocery shopping? And have you ever seen your neighbors get groceries out of their car? Like, I never have. It's like, how many times have you trimmed, let's say, your toenails? And you get up and all of a sudden your toenail hangs in the covers and you look at it and it's really long and you tell yourself, I just trimmed that toenail yesterday. Or you get up and put something up somewhere and you have no clue where it's at and all of a sudden you reach back to where, you were just at and it's right there. It's like
Yeah,
the matrix is like
that first one,
loading itself.
that first one was deep, man. Have I ever seen my neighbors get MF and groceries? I don't think so. I've got a pretty good memory. I can think back on my long and sordid life. Uh, I don't know that I ever have seen that. That's incredible.
There was another one that said people with dementia are actually really smart. And those are the people that go through dementia first because they're super smart and all of a sudden they start having dementia because their reality is fading. What if they are really finally realizing that the reality is wrong and they're the only ones that see it?
I would say I disagree with that hypothesis because their body shuts down too. It's like their body forgets how to do things.
Well, what if it's not their body? What if all of a sudden their reality just breaks through?
Hmm.
There's it's a deep hole to jump in.
It is. We're still stuck with our reality, so we can only interpret it. It's kind of what is it? It's almost Schrodinger stuff because we can only interpret
What we can see.
what our part of the box is, and we're outside the
Yeah.
box, so we really can't interpret shit.
Well, it's like science. It's like I think we've talked about this before. Science is based on the things that we know right now. 100 years ago, there's no way that airplanes could fly. 50 years ago, there's no way, or 60 years ago, there's no way we could go to the moon. You know, you know, 30 years ago, there's no way we could go to Mars. We could never put a satellite to the edge of the universe. We'd never know how far it is to the edge of the solar system. Everything's just a guess, and all of a sudden we just know everything.
If you could go back to 1886 and show that Daimler, the guy who invented the Reitwagen, the single track, the very first motorcycle, or credited with the very first motorcycle, man, if he could see a cross plane or like a V4, like an Aprilia or something today, dude would shit a brick.
Dude, I could go back in time with my crappy little Kawasaki with no lights on it, no body, no nothing, no seat, and they would think it was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Reality. Reality
Oh
is,
yeah.
is compared to what you have right now. So insane.
So what else would you travel with? We've covered philosophy, existentialism.
Uh Man, I'll always carry SPF 50 to put on my nose and my cheeks.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I have a little tube that I keep in my belly pack that I try to, especially if I'm gonna take a long trip. If I'm gonna be on the bike more than like 2 hours before I go, and it looks funny, I know, but nobody's gonna see it inside my helmet. And by the time I get to where I'm going, it's gonna melt off anyway. But that's
That's
always where I burn is right here and right here, because
I've
everything
seen
else is
some
covered up.
runners that'll wear they might be wearing a t-shirt, but they'll wear these sleeves
Yeah.
to keep their arms from getting all burned up too.
Yep. If I am gonna be sorry, if I am gonna be on the bike that long, I'm gonna wear something with sleeves, because
Yeah.
it's dude. I got just the other day I had to run. So normally I just ride just from work back home, and it's about 25 minutes. And for some reason I rode all the way up to Harley, and then I rode somewhere else, and then I rode home. So it put me on the bike for about an hour and a half. My arms were burnt. I mean, toasted. Not even an hour and a half straight. It was like I rode there. We stayed there 30 minutes. Rode where else somewhere else. Stayed there 30 minutes, and when I got home, I was cooked. So I guess I got to start keeping more on the bike.
I got cooked about 30 minutes into Florida. I realized, man, I was in a different place altogether. I wasn't in Iowa no more. The sun don't shine like that. I was immediately cooking. I could feel it. I could feel my arms getting warm. I was like, if I start smelling barbecue, this is bad.
It's funny. The first time I went to Kuwait, it was we were out, and it was probably about 3 or 4 months into the deployment, and we'd walk outside, and you could actually feel your skin tightening up, and you look down, and there's like oil pouring up out of your skin because like it's baking it out of your skin.
Yeah,
It's not sweat. You got to rub it, and it's like slick. It's like oily. It's like
yeah.
pulling not just the moisture, but the oils right out of your skin.
I've seen people in Vegas. They've been cooking under the sun so long. They look like. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, man. They look like lizard people.
Yeah,
Their skin look like leather. Like they just been cooked by the sun for so long. Their skin had transformed into quintessentially armor.
I think lizard people are running the Matrix. I think that's not. I'm just kidding. Maybe, maybe I'm kidding. Yeah, dry heat. Doug's not here. I can talk about him. Oh man, we have had a good time tonight. We've kind of run out of stuff. I was hoping more people would show up. I'm definitely going for bagels in the morning.
Well, what's one other one we can cover is navigation. Um, our buddy, what's he go by? I know him as Thomas now. I don't remember his road name. Uh, Nordic. We got this buddy Thomas. He rode a Rocket 3, I want to say, all the way to Missouri from either Portland or Colorado, and he just had this little beeline, little round thing that you just set on your bars, and it gives you an arrow of where to go. Runs off your phone. I always travel with just my phone, and I download offline maps to wherever I'm going, so my coverage doesn't get spotty. Some people swear by Garmin's and stuff. What do you got? You got like a infotainment system in your Beamer?
Well, I had before I had the TomTom 550 Sport, and it was
Uh-huh.
perfect. That's what I used everywhere. But you can only do maps on it, and it would tell you that you got a message, but you couldn't like read the message or something. And the new one I got is a Carper Ride, and it is a full entertainment system. It's an Android Auto and Apple Play full entertainment system. So I can play my music from it. I can start my music from it. I can skip music. I can look at my maps. I can read text. I can send text. I can make phone calls from it. I can do everything from it. And it's night and day. I mean, if you've got a car and you've got Apple Play in it, everything that thing does, this does. And it's a game changer. So I'm looking for a smaller one for my Harley, but I didn't get to talk about this. So I'm everybody knows I'm up in the air. I'm trying to buy a new motorcycle, and I'm trying to maybe either sell the Sportster or I'll trade in the BMW. I was thinking about trading in the BMW, or would have two big bikes. However, now I'm actually thinking about selling all three bikes and buying two more bikes because it's so hard to figure out. I know the Kawasaki, it's going to sell because I'm going to get it fixed up, make the videos for it, ride it a few times probably, and then it's just not going to be the bike for me because I've always sworn off Kawasaki's, and it's a very small bike for an old man like me. It's not going to be very comfortable to ride. However, I'm actually thinking about selling both the Kawasaki, or they're either the Sportster and the BMW, to get a more happy bike for me that I can use for riding to work and use as a tour bike for just me, and then maybe getting Diana her own bike again.
Oh, nice.
So she's actually thinking about getting a bike again, which
I was talking
would
with
be
a guy
awesome.
the other day who just traded in his R1 for a Tenere 700, and so cool. He started telling me stories about his R1. Man says he had 100,000 miles on that R1, or of R1 seat time, and I said that's incredible. That's incredible. 100,000 miles. If you're familiar with the R1 line, that's a backbreaker. Oh, he probably did that when he was younger. I get a Tenere too.
I'd get a Tenere too.
Yeah.
Some of those sport bikes though, I mean, they're meant to like lay on. I had the BMW, an R100 stroke 7, and the tank is like way up here, and then it comes down to the seat, and then it comes back up. And riding it, you can sit up and ride it, or you can just kind of lay yourself down, and you're at like a 45-degree angle, laying on the tank like a lizard. And in the sport bike world, in the cruise world, that's what they call it. They say it's highway lizard, where you just kind of lay on the bike and the bike just supports you, and it's so comfortable. Your head's like
Yeah.
just pointing up a little bit, and you can I could ride forever like that. It was extremely
Well,
comfortable.
so that Z900 I had, Kawasaki, the one that looked like the Eddie Lawson race bike, little bikini fairing, its ergos did the same thing. It dragged you across. You could be real comfortable, real tight up in this position, just like stretched over the tank and really stuck under that little bikini fairing and just flat outing it like that. You could do that all day long. But after about 3 days of doing that, it was not good. That's where I actually gave up on a trip. That was my first attempt at Forgotten Angels, speaking of which. Um, and I made it to Atlanta on that bike. Little 900cc bike. Made it to Atlanta from Iowa.
That's
But
dedication.
my wrist was so swollen and I couldn't even like manipulate it. I luckily I had one of those like uh those throttle helpers
Hmm.
or cramp buster things. That was my cruise control. And I'm like trying to like push my arm on it in different ways to make it work and it just keeps moving. But my arm was so messed up I couldn't manipulate the throttle anymore. So at that point I said, all right, well this is clearly not the bike we're doing this trip on. And I flew home on an airplane like an adult who'd been defeated. And I had my bike shipped home. And I felt so bad about that. I almost felt like swearing off long distance travel. And what a difference it makes to have a proper rig for doing it. Even just the proper ergonomic position. You can travel across this country on a 250 if it's comfortable,
Yeah.
But if you're in a race position, it's only a matter of time before something that bike put all your weight into your wrists. I rode on other bikes like my Vaquero. It was a completely touring centric bike, but I had those meat hooks on it, and it put all the weight on my shoulders. So after a couple of days of real heavy riding, my shoulders felt like I had just been doing football practice all day or something. Um, Other bikes I've had, they put it down in the elbow a little bit, or it kind of just depends on where that hot spot's going to be based on your ergos.
Well, even the Sportster with the 10-inch bars, when I got to Sturgis and then got or Little Sturgis and then came back, I felt like I've been doing pull-ups all day.
Yeah,
It actually didn't feel bad. It felt just very not even tight, just like pumped. So just hanging on to the bike, catching the wind and trying not to fall off the back of the bike was like basically like doing rows. Um, at least it wasn't that bad. But yeah, you bring up a good point. Maybe the Super Glide that I'm looking at is not the bike for me to take long trips on because it probably does not have cruise control on it. I'm glad we talked about this. Maybe that's not the
yeah,
bike I'll get.
yeah. For you, for as much as you do, man, you probably want something that has some of those options. I don't know.
So we're back to the
There's
R18 now.
yeah, there's a lot of options out there, but you got to also think about what you're going to use it for. And if you're doing still a lot of long distance travel, one of the reasons I dropped down to smaller bikes is because after my back injury, a part of it was I just couldn't. At first, I couldn't even lift that big bad dog up anymore. And then when I could lift it up, and I'd gotten well enough that I could, it became I wasn't taking any trips. I work all the time. I don't get that much time off anymore. I used to get a lot more time off. Uh, but now I'm trying to do stuff with my house. I'm going in a lot of different other directions. Um, it just sat in the garage. It would just sit there. I always felt so bad about that. We'd had so much fun out on the road, but then it was just sitting there. And 99% of the riding I'd do on the Sportster because I was just zipping around town. So I actually started modding the Sportster out to look like a little mini touring bike. And I realized, I think, how much I really would be in love with the Lowrider ST, but that's out of my range right now.
Yeah.
I think that would be sort of for me the perfect in between of two worlds.
Yeah.
would be something like the Lowrider ST. Um, but I love my vintage stuff so much. I don't know that I can ever get rid of that concourse. It's it's too much of a friend,
It came
you
home to
know.
roost.
It
So
did.
yeah.
I let it go and it came back. You know, I had to put another motor in that bike. I've had so much money into that bike that will never be returned. But it's not even about the money, it's about that connection. The
The
bike's
labor of
got
love. Yeah.
it's got like soul. It's got feeling to it, and it'll bark and howl and do all these things that you wouldn't guess a 20-year-old bike like that would do, and it just feels like a tank. I rode it in pouring rain not too long ago. I made a little video where I like shouted out about you. I was like, "Rainy, this is homage to you,
I
bro."
I did see that one.
It was pouring. I was going through. At one point, water was probably up to the brakes, and I'm just putting along, and that bike just soaks up the road. You know, it's like an unmovable object, and really so much fun. I don't know. I said I like the Lowrider ST. I want to finish up the Sporty, but there's other bikes I'd like to try. I too would kind of like to try some ADV stuff. I love that Nana rocks so much on that Enfield. Those Enfields are pretty cool. I've seen the 650 Meteors. There's a guy who's got one raced out around here. You can do a lot in that regard, but then they make that little like trail model or ADV model that both her and like her two wheels have, and it's a cool bike. It's a cool bike.
Yeah. Yeah. And she has drastically changed. We're talking about on not out on the road. Has drastically changed the look of that bike. It does
Yeah,
not look like a Himalayan anymore, but it looks very
custom,
cool.
Nata custom.
Not so custom. Yeah, it's funny. I did not realize how little she was until the more and more videos I see of her standing next to people that she say is like the dude that did her bike. He's only like 6'2", and he's almost like 2 foot taller than her, and it's like she must be really small. But eh.
Well,
Christian
that's
Biker, thanks buddy, thanks for coming in.
isn't that something that blows you away? So, this is where TV makes things look different. I had been watching Shade Tree Surgeon for some time, and if you watch Shade Tree Surgeon for any amount of time, you'll come to the realization that he is surrounded by wayward ladies,
Yeah,
and so you don't a lot of his perspective is from his head about head height. So most of what you see in his videos is at this height level, and it doesn't really change too much the camera position. And so I had one thought of what the people around him were like. Then I get there, I'm in Florida, and I meet like um, well, Cammy and Shay, and then the little blonde lady. A couple of the ladies around him, and they were tiny.
yeah, they're all
They're the
tiny.
tiniest people. I thought, like, y'all are adorable. Like,
Well,
nice to meet you.
Shay's always talking about how short she is, and it doesn't seem like she's really that short. And the
Until you
thing
meet her
she's
in person.
yeah, and it's like you're kind of small.
Yeah.
What
But it
was
makes her accomplishments that much more because
yeah?
when you see her video where she's rocking this gold wing, if you know how big that bike is, to then see her and how small she is, that's a champion right there. That's a person wrangling fate into their hands.
We were talking down there, and she was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I got this." It may have been the Gull Wing that she was riding. And somebody goes, "Yeah, I can tell you're not really riding it. You're on a trailer, and you've got a camera team around you that's using CGI to make it look like you're actually riding it." And she was like, "That's actually kind of seemed like a compliment. Somebody telling me there's no way I could possibly be doing this, and yet here I am doing it." So that was pretty cool.
You gotta have some mildly thick skin to do what we do. Put yourself out there for the world to see and criticize as well. I made that video where I was like exposing an AI channel because all the dude does, he had 97 videos just crapping on Harley Davidson. And I'm a YouTuber. I'm not afraid to clap back at somebody. You want to have a race.
You got to stand
You
for
know,
something. Yeah.
yeah. You know, what do you want to do about it? Um, so I said to this fella, I says, in my video, hey, why don't you try throwing a leg over a bike? Hey, why don't you show me that video, and then you could do your next 100 crapping on Harley videos. Show me one video where you ride one motorcycle. You know, I watched enough of your content to see you don't. Every video is like this weird B-roll crapping on insert brand,
Yeah.
and 99% of it was Harley. And I don't see crapping on stuff. I don't like doing that in the world. I think we ought to try to be a little more uplifting,
Yeah.
be a better place.
I had somebody, I can't remember which video it was, but they're telling me how I'm doing it so wrong. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll go back and look at your video on this. And it's like, oh, you don't have one. Never mind.
Well, yeah, one of the comments that came in off that video was, I have to assume a very pro that channel subscriber or viewer, not subscriber. I doubt they subscribe based on their reply, but it was like, I don't know about taking advice from someone who got some 600 subscribers, and I think I said something similar, like, well, go ahead and make your channel and
Yeah.
you do you, man. I try to be nice to people. I say I hope you find some other content that's more to your liking. But thank you for the watch, I guess.
What's funny is, and I'm sure you've got some of these too. It's like some videos that I didn't think would go very well or do very good have just plowed. Like the one where I was showing the integrated tail light on my bike is one of my biggest videos. And what's funny is it's the not the one that me hooking it up. It's not the one where I'm explaining how it works and stuff. It's the short where I'm just going, okay, well I got it on. Let's see how it works now, and I turn it on, and people are complaining. They're like, you didn't even show me how it worked, and this video is useless because you didn't even show us how to wire it. And I'm like, that was the video before this one.
Yeah.
Go back to that video, and that video didn't get a whole lot of hits. The video of me complaining about it got a lot of hits. The video of me after it was done got a lot of hits. But the one between those two, where I hadn't figured out the one I hadn't figured out yet how to wire it right, and the one where it was done, those got big hits. The one I'm actually wiring it and showing where all the wires go didn't get a whole lot of views. It's just really strange sometimes with YouTube. The algorithm is just whacked.
Well, I spell it out for people too. I mean, you do have to be able to read. I guess I'm kind of biased in that regard, but I give our community. I give very good descriptions for my video. If you ever click on it, there's a whole very detailed description or body of what that video is going to be about in there. Usually time stamped. I'm getting better at doing the timestamps as well. Chapters and letting you be able to get through the video at your pace and into the content you want to get to. I also acknowledge maybe my content's not for everyone. My last video had implied aliens flying around. They're bothering me in my video.
I actually wanted to see more aliens in that video. I was kind of upset with that. I was gonna text you. I was gonna comment at the bottom and complain that there weren't enough aliens in it. But I thought, well, I don't have any aliens in mine. I guess I shouldn't say anything.
Oh, you're so nice. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I I don't know if it's the bots that attack you or if it's just the trolls that attack you. But sometimes I read this stuff, I'm angry for about 2 seconds, and then I go, should I really get angry because this guy is such a freaking idiot? Should I complain? Should I really get angry because some guy who knows nothing is doesn't like what I'm doing?
Well, I have started. I've seen some of these videos of like these models, these Instagram or OnlyFans, or very pretty ladies, and they'll do these like videos where they're reacting to one of their comments, and the comment will be like, "You're ugly as sin," and then this person who socially is seen as very attractive uh, will go to that person's like Facebook page, and they're not. They're two. They're not. They're not super handsome. It's like throwing a rock in a glass house kind of stuff. And it makes me think about that. Like maybe these people aren't too happy about their life. I don't.
No.
I don't need to dwell on it. I did dwell on one when I first started creating content. My channel's been around since 2013. It wasn't always bleak rides. I had. I, if I ever turn the camera around, I got all this modeling stuff. I played this tabletop Warhammer game. I had painted up some models. This one has never left my mind. Thin yo paint, dog. It was so plat plat. Like I felt like I'd been slapped by another man or something. But it was accurate because that model did have like some thick, kind of gloppy paint pieces on it. I thought, ugh, that is accurate AF, but it stings. Ugh. I guess I need to thin my paint. I've never forgot that. I said, thin your paint, dog.
I shared one today. It's this guy he's a power lifter. His wife is a fitness model, and she's one of those that actually has muscle. She's like a CrossFit fitness model. And he
Yeah.
says, so someone complained to my wife and said my wife is as big as a man and has muscles like a man. And he says, I want to show you pictures of my wife. And she's gorgeous and she's got muscle, she's got tone, but she's very good looking. And he goes, I'll admit it. He goes, I punched way above my weight on this one. He just got lucky. He goes, so let's see this lady who's telling me that my wife is built like a man, and goes to this, and I don't mean to beat people up, but this lady had no space to talk.
Business throwing stones.
Yeah, and he goes, and all I can say, he says, let this be a lesson to you, Mary, whatever her name was. Sometimes you just need to shut the fuck up,
Well,
because
yeah, if you're happy, you don't have anything constructive to add. Shut the fuck up.
I think sometimes people, especially media people, they make a lot of noise to make themselves relevant again. Especially, and I hate to be. I used to love Simone Biles. I just loved her. I thought she was so elegant and she was very classy. And her spiff that she got into with Riley
Riley Gaines.
Gaines, and not because I don't see two different sides of a story. What she chose to attack her on was her muscularity. Now, this is Simone Biles, and I'll never forget this. This was right before the Olympics a couple years ago. It showed the three top runners for the Olympic gymnastics team, and they were ripped. I mean, they had six packs, they had eight packs, they had delts, they had huge muscles. And there's nothing against that. I like a fit girl, but for one girl who's covered in muscle to tell another girl you're built like a man, maybe you shouldn't have gone there, because the next thing you saw all over social media was these pictures of Simone Biles at the beach and walking out with her big muscles and huge muscles on her legs and these ripped muscles on her legs. She made herself a target, a huge target. And to be fair, she actually has more ripped muscles than Raleigh Gaines does. So very much hypocrisy.
I'm a normal heterosexual dude. I love them muscled out ladies.
Yeah,
I could name probably half a dozen of them off right now that I follow on Instagram because they're beautiful and they put more work into their body than I probably put into anything.
yeah. The first thing I'm thinking of is, in the case of the apocalypse, man, they could run down a deer. That's a win.
Oh, just, just some of them, the amount of time they got to spend in that gym, just grinding away, or the suffering, or the pain. I lifted weights, like I got some muscle at one point, and just to build a little bit I did, there was some suffering involved. There was, you know, uh, just imagine doing that every day, 365 for years,
That's a lot of
years and
protein
years.
farts.
One of them, Lean Beef Patty, she's been doing it since
Oh,
she was like a
yes.
little kid. Like since she was a little kid, she's been doing gymnastics and uh, some kind of weight training, and then resistance training, and just she's not just a normal athlete. You're like at a Bruce Lee level.
Yeah.
At this point
Very
in her
elite.
life
Yes.
now, the amount of body fat, the way the muscles have structured, it's from a lifetime of doing that. It's the comparison I'd make is if you take a Jesse James or an Indian Larry and their knowledge of fabricating motorcycle parts. They didn't get that overnight. They got that through a lifetime of trial and failure and effort and suffering to become experts or extreme talents in that field.
I don't know if you have seen this, but there's a mother, daughter, grandmother team. The mother and daughter are always together. But the daughter, her name is Paris. The mother is Bombshell with a barbell, and the grandma is called Granny Guns.
Oh, I
and
love it.
they are all not super huge built swole stuff, but they're all very built. And they're all the mom is like 6 foot, big tall blonde, pretty, and used to be a model. And the younger girl now is a model and a spokesman for a lot of supplements and stuff. But they're all like mediumly built, but very in very good shape. And if you've ever seen if you want to see the daughter, look up Cherry Lady,
Yeah.
and she does these Cherry Lady videos where she poses to Cherry Lady and does these like little, this like Macarena type shit. And it is so funny, and she's done it. She's probably did 20 of those videos and change them up a little bit each time. But that's a lot of dedication. And I think about like the grandma was into working out and bodybuilding, and the mom was into working out and bodybuilding. Now the daughter's into working out and bodybuilding, and it's just a natural progression. None of them have taken it. I won't say there's no problem in taking it over the limit, but they have all been kind of moderate with it, but then been very successful at it. But it takes a whole lot of dedication you just to raise it to that level.
Well, you know what else is interesting though? The two strongest men on the planet are a pair of fat dudes. That's Eddie
Athletic,
Hall and Brian Shaw.
yeah.
The world's strongest men got big old beer bellies. Great, they're just built to the guns, to the legs, to the core. But on top of that core, big old bellies, and I love it. That's
I saw one
what
where
we're striving for.
Eddie it was Eddie Hall had won, and one of the prizes for winning was a Harley, and it was a big Harley. It was a Road King. He goes and gets on this thing, and it looks like he's crawling on a freaking little dirt bike.
Yeah,
He's a monster. If you've never seen this guy in person, it's ridiculous how big this is. He's smaller now. He got into prize fighting and he got into cage fighting and stuff and MMA. He lost like 200 pounds, and he's still like 250 pounds. This dude at his peak was eating like 14,000 calories a day. And if you ever watch his channel, he went back one time and he decided to one day eat his powerlifting diet for one day that he was eating before when he was competing. He couldn't even finish the food. It was just so much food because his body never stopped, and it was so big, and his body just needed those calories to function. It's insane how. And again, they look like a bunch of big fat asses, but they are so full of muscle and potential and power. It's
yeah,
it's just insane.
just behemoths, big old swelled up behemoths.
Freaking Baronosaurus rexes. All right, let's go ahead and hop off here. We've been running for a while.
Have we? All right. Oh, hey,
Fun.
thank you for having me on, man.
Thanks for coming on. You saved the day for me. Otherwise, I would have just been talking about I don't know what.
I
I get
normally,
lucky every
you
once in a while.
know, this job has me so busy all the time. I was so happy that I could get on, and I wasn't all tied up doing something else. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to go do some editing. But I'm so glad you had me on. I appreciate you, and I'm just glad when the stars align because we don't get to hang out enough.
I know. I need to take another road trip. Yeah, last it was so the stream was supposed to be last night. I went out with a friend of mine. Me, my wife, his wife, and him. We go out every Friday night and have Friday night with the Wests. And we went a Japanese restaurant and asked for a pitcher of beer between me and Mike. And when they brought it out, it was a beer tower, and it was this thing that was this big. I put it on Instagram in case if you didn't see it. It was 3 liters. It was a big 3 liter square of yakiniku, some kind of beer. Ichiban. It was Ichiban. 3 liters with a tap on the bottom of it. Yeah, you're welcome anytime. Come on over. And I was like, once we finished it, it was like, I'm not doing a live tonight. I might say shit that I don't mean. So we're like, we're just gonna. So I went ahead and delayed it to tonight. We ended up going and picked up another 6 pack. Went to his house. And we just stayed at his house and played guitars. We did a little stream, little live last night
I
from his
saw it.
house.
Yeah,
And
like
but
26 minutes. Some badass riffing.
yeah, oh yeah, you were there. That's right. But yeah, dude, it was so much fun. But I was like, yeah, after drinking this much, I should not do a live tonight. Once I stop moving, I'm probably gonna fall asleep. So no, ain't happening tonight. But it was still pretty fun. You got to come down and visit me sometime.
I know, I know. I have a week of vacation, but dealership life is in the Midwest exists during the summer months.
Yep, I get
So
it.
I won't have the opportunity to get out of here till like October, maybe earlier than that. I just really got to think about it. But then if I structure it right, where like maybe I leave on a Thursday and I take that following Tuesday off, then I'm really only taking 3 days off, but I'm getting 6 for my
Yeah.
time, and I have the ability because there's not just you. I got an aunt in Tennessee who I'd love to see, a little cousin, and I'd like to see them. Come see you. Come see Diana, and but I got to structure it right to where I give myself the time because I'll be doing it on the Connie, and the Connie is great. I ripped down to Van Buren on it for that weirdo meetup, and it handled just fine, so I don't have any worry there. But it is not the same as doing it on that big old bagger, and
Yeah.
it's just not. Uh, yeah.
Things that are
I,
supposed to happen have a way of happening. So take it as it comes. If it comes, cool. If it doesn't, next time's coming. No
yeah.
worries.
Well, I'll make it. You made it to me. I'll make it to you.
Diana wants to know when the baby's coming.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after hours.
Okay. All right. So final thoughts.
If you can, just ride. Get out there and do it. Sometimes you're not going to have all the right gear. Sometimes you're not going to have all the right stuff. But if you try, you'll thank yourself later because you'll have the experience afterwards to know better the next time.
Absolutely cool. And me, as always, if you could be anything, be nice, unless it's some troll talking about your video and then smack down. No, I'm just kidding. Be nice, do nice things. If you see somebody in trouble, if you need somebody that needs a helping hand, give them a helping hand. Try to remember sometimes that people are human and people say things sometimes they don't mean. You deserve a little forgiveness. Let's all work together here. A lot of bad things are happening in the world right now, especially today. The world's a harsh place to live in. There's no use in making it even harsher. So with that, we'll close out with a normal tune. And thank everybody for coming in. Like, comment, subscribe. Go down in the comments under this video, and there's a place where you can get a Rainy Rider t-shirt, mugs, hats, whatever. So until next time, you guys have a great time, and I will see you in the next video. So long.